What's up, Ricanistas? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another Rican rant. Welcome back to another Rican rant. I hope everybody's week is going well. Let me see who's in here before I get started. Big up to Fraley. Big up. And yeah, man, another Rican rant. This one, ethnicity, nationality, and football. It's something that I've wanted to cover for a while, especially seeing what's going on with the World Cup. What's been going on in football in general. So we're going to talk about it. Now, I do have to right? Because what I say might hurt people's feelings, but it's my truth and it's what I think. So, I'm going to say this before we get started. Keep it respectful, please. If you don't agree with me, just say you don't agree. Tell me why. But let's have an actual general conversation. If you start calling people names, I'm gonna get rid of you. If you're just being a menace, then I'm gonna get rid of you. And may I please ask as well, let's stay on topic, right? I've picked this topic. I don't want to talk about Arsenal. I don't want to talk about anything else. I want to talk about the topic at hand. So if I do see comments that's not the topic at hand, then I'm gonna skip over them. So my apologies to begin with, because the things that I want to talk about are serious. And right now, in this hour, I don't care about Arsenal. I don't care about Sevilla. Don't care about Spain, US. I don't care about any of that. I care about the topic at hand. So if you do give something, and it's not on topic, then I'm probably just gonna skip over it. I will put subscribers only mode on, just because sensitive topics, I like for people to have joined my channel to talk about these things. So once again, there's a trigger warning, because I'm gonna start off with this. Right, everybody knows the story of Mesut Ozil, and his feeling, about being Turkish and what was going on with Turkey. But I thought this quote kind of sums up how it feels to be an immigrant or a different nationality in certain Western countries. And I remember this, I'm German when we win, but I'm an immigrant when we lose. And it's very important to our topic today, because as you guys might have seen, the Paraguayan senator has said things about Mbappe. Mbappe's responded to her. We've seen Mario Balotelli. When I score for them, I'm Italian. When I don't score, I'm Ghanaian. I'm from Africa. So it's a big thing. It's a big thing. So Fraley said the important stuff. Yep. Thank you, Fraley. Big up, Rican. I hope you're good. I hope you're good as well, Godfrey. And I'm glad you're here because, I think South Africa kind of falls in that as well. There's a big issue with talking down and blaming immigrants right now. Yep. Edwards, hi. I will cause trouble. Learn from my mistakes. I hope not. I hope you don't cause any trouble. And big up to Brian. Thank you so much for stopping by. Afternoon, Rican in chat from the hospital, getting discharged shortly. Brian, I haven't seen you in the chat, man. I've been worried about you. I hope everything is all right. I miss having you in the chat. So, yeah. Big up to Shane. Make sure you subscribe to Shane as well. Big up to you. And then big up, Andreas said Andy Murray said the same thing about being Scottish when he lost and British when he won. And yes, and this is this conversation I want to have. And as I said, I want to have it from my point of view. So I'm a black man. All right, you got obviously, and I'm from America, and I think that this notion of nationality and ethnicity being separate things has always been a thing in America. And it's been, I'm pretty sure it's been here in the UK. So Sir Mo Farah, he's British when he was winning all the gold medals, but when he wasn't, he was African. You know what I'm saying? So it's something that I think about, and it's something that I want to talk about. So to start, because I have brought kind of pictures and stuff. So you have to give me a second to pull things up. Because I want to start with the Mbappe thing, right? I want to start with the Mbappe thing, and I have all of them. Let me, because I had to find all of them. But let's go through the Mbappe thing, because I think it's very interesting. And I think his response is very interesting as well. So let me remove that one. So Kylian Mbappe, as we know, is a Black French player. He's Cameroonian, I believe. He has Cameroonian heritage, but he's in France. And this is the thing that I've seen, right, with the England team. And I've spoke about how I feel about England now. But I remember when the England team, this current England team was put together, I saw posts, and it's not everybody. I want to say this. This isn't everybody. This is just things that I think about and conversations I feel like we need to have. But there were posts where people were genuinely upset because England had so many Black players. Oh, you're Ghanaian, you're Cameroonian, you're this and you're that. But those guys are English, right? And there's a difference between your heritage and how you fit. You know what I just noticed? Side note, this is how my brain works. I'm wearing the same shirt that I wore in the thumbnail. That was not on purpose. I just like this shirt and it's hot. So it breathes. It breathes very well. But it's weird. It's weird to think about that. People can just say, oh, because they're Black, they're not English. Because you're Black, you're not American. Because you're brown, you're not you're not American, you're not Swedish, you're not this, you're not, it's weird behavior. And pulls up a good point. He says too many Irish in the England team. Declan Rice, who English people love so much. Guess what, guys? He played for the Irish national team before he played for the Irish, under 18s, under 21s. He was in their setup before he came to England. Like, come on. But people forget that. It's so easy to forget those things when you're being racist against a group of people, right? Freddie said, I'm worried about how open people are to being racist right now. So am I. So let's read what this. So Panama get knocked out by France. And the first thing this lady says is colonized Cameroonian, pretending hard to be French. Triggering for people. Resentful, newly rich, arrogant, and ugly. Okay, he looks like a Ninja Turtle, but that's not why she said these things. He was nervous and scared to death the whole match, like his entire team. They couldn't score a goal. They won by a fluke. The only thing many of us demanded on the Albiroja is to not have slapped him open-handed after the match ended, and that's despite not being a soccer fan. You're not a soccer fan, but you thought it was okay to bring your goofy behind on the internet, on X, and say that. First off, let me also say how easy it is to be racist on X, bro. This is why I'm not on there, and I be apologizing to Shane and Views because they be sharing this stuff. I don't like being on X, right? I shared their stuff on YouTube, but I have not linked my X to anything because I don't like that app. It's just so racist, bro. So my apologies, but yeah, bro, I can't go on there just because I know what kind of person Elon is. But this statement, and I'm gonna break down the statement. This statement would have been fine. This statement would have been fine if not for the first line, right? It would have been fine if not for the first line. If this lady come out saying, oh, that Mbappe good. He thinks he's so good. He was nervous and scared to death the whole match, like his entire team. They couldn't even score a goal. They won by a fluke. Nobody would be saying anything. You'd be like, yeah, man, I feel the same way. The fact that she put in this colonized Cameroonian pretending hard to be French. No, Kylian Mbappe is French. And this is the thing that bothers me so much because I feel differently. I feel strongly about this because I am, by heritage, I'm Puerto Rican and Bahamian. But I didn't grow up in Puerto Rico. I didn't grow up in the Bahamas. I grew up in America. Therefore, I'm American. My heritage is Puerto Rican. My heritage is Bahamian and Ghanaian and all that stuff. But my nationality is American. My passport is American. My birth certificate is American. From the time I could walk, talk, breathe, it was in America. I can't go to Ghana. I don't know anything about Ghana. I know where it is, but I can't tell you anything about what's in Ghana. I can't tell you anything what's about Nigeria. I can't tell you anything about any other the pieces of nationality are. But I can tell you about Miami, Florida. I can tell you about America because that's where I'm from. And I think that it's weird, bro. I think it's weird that when you're white, it's okay for you to skip countries. But as soon as you're Granit Xhaka, he's Albanian. He played for Switzerland. Nobody's saying, oh, Granit's an immigrant. Look at Granit, he's not even Swiss. No one's saying that. Declan Rice has Irish heritage. No one's saying his parents are immigrants. Nobody's saying that. But it's so easy to point to black people and say, oh, you're this. But when we're winning things, when France was winning the World Cup, nobody said anything. Oh, we love him so much. But the moment they get knocked out in the final, it's the black. And this is the thing that I thought about with the England team. If England had lost at any point before this point, you know for a fact that you wouldn't see Harry Kane's face. You wouldn't see Declan Rice's face. You would see Thomas Tuchel because he's a foreigner. You would see Rashford, Saka. You see all the play because we saw it before. No one talked about how poor England played in that European final that went to penalty. Nobody talked about that. They only talked about the black players that missed the penalty. No one talked about anything else. Why were we even at penalties with an Italian team that ain't made the World Cup? They haven't made the World Cup in 12 years. Their back line had an average age of 52, but nobody said anything. Nobody said anything about that performance. Nobody said anything about the fact that it got to penalties. The only thing they talked about was black players missing it. And that's my problem. When Paraguay, you played a hard-fought game. You did what any good team would do. You stifled France. And the first thing you think to do is to come out and say, this guy's pretending to be French. He's a colonized Cameroonian. Well, guess what? Celeste or whatever your name is, Paraguay was colonized too. You are the same. You are part of a colonized minority. You are the same. But the difference is people forget that when they look white. When they're white presenting, they forget that. And I'm gonna do it again, right? I gotta do it again because this might trigger people. I come from Miami. I love my place. Miami Cubans and Hispanics are some of the most racist people I've ever come across. Hand to God. I remember my grandparents fighting for me because I was the little negrito. I was a little black kid. I was the Puerto Rican Hispanic kid who was mixed. My grandparents are light skinned. My mother was pale white. My granddad, bro, if he spoke English, you would think he was the whitest man on earth. If he spoke perfect English. My grandma, on the other hand, is Taino, so she's a little bit brown. Right? I grew up with that, bro. I grew up feeling like people telling me, oh, you're not Spanish enough. You're not black enough, bro. So it's weird that people whose countries are struggle, and these are Dominicans, these are Panamanian, these are people who've been oppressed oppressing other people because they look light. It's weird, bro. It's weird. But the first thing you thought to do after your team lost is to talk about race, is to talk about heritage. And then she did as they normally do. They get called out, and now it's crocodile tears. Oh, it's not what I meant. You should apologize to me. But I'm going to read you what Mbappe said. Right? And I'll get into your comments. I promise. Mbappe retorts, if you will, Madam Celeste Amarilla, you're a despicable woman and unworthy of your position. Strong. You do not represent Paraguay, the country which has sweated passion and honor throughout the competition. Through your recklessness and your brazen racismo, the entire world has already forgotten the journey and the historic effort that your players accomplished during the World Cup. Bro, this lady said she don't even watch football. I'm not a football fan. So why did you open your mouth? You went out of your way to be racist. Why did you open your mouth? Just shut up and say congratulations. Right? Making way for an incompetent woman who gives the worst possible image of her country. I will never allow people like her the freedom to spread their hatred and racism across the world. Listen, you guys know how I feel about Mbappe, right? Bring him to the carpet. Do I think he's a little bit egotistical? Of course I do. Right? But him having a bit, and this is the thing. This is the difference, right? And racism can be so subtle. And living in Europe, you can see it, right? Cristiano Ronaldo is the most egotistical player we've seen in football in the past 20 years. Right? His ego is on the level of Jordan-esque, right? Nobody says anything. The moment Vinicius Jr. does a little bit of samba, the moment that Neymar dances a little, do a little, it's a problem. It's a problem. It's a problem. Oh, his ego so big. Aubameyang's doing flips. His ego so big. Nobody's saying anything where when Ronaldo's running half the length of the pitch. So no one's saying anything. But the moment that Kylian Mbappe does a celebration, the moment that Vinicius Jr. does something, it's a problem. It's a problem. And that's why, is it a color thing? I think it is. It's most definitely a color thing. But the thing that I hate most is people try to diminish your nationality and your contribution to your country because you look different than them. Right? Now, I think that Mbappe's response to this was strong, and it has to be. Because yesteryear, you would have just said, oh, it hurts my feelings and moved on. Now people are clapping back, and people are saying things. And I'm glad that people gave her pelters because you went out of your way. You said you don't watch football, but you went out of your way to be racist. So you deserve everything you get. I don't feel bad for you. I want to read something else, and then I'll get into your comments. I promise. Right? I want to read something. And this was a comment made by Andreas earlier, and I saved it because I think it was a very good comment. This World Cup has really emphasized for me how the movement of people can affect national teams. Holland and Elise, both born in England, chose to play for other countries for different reasons, right? So Elise, born in England, plays for France, has French roots. Erling Haaland, his dad played in England. He chose to play in Norway. That's his roots, right? Balogun plays for USA because his mom wasn't allowed to fly home. Balogun has birthright citizenship. right? If you guys don't know what that is, you probably do, but I'm here to educate as well. In America, and America is one of the few countries, if not the only country, where if you are born on American soil, even if you're not an American citizen, you automatically become American. You born at American hospital, you are American. Folarin Balogun has an English accent. I'm pretty sure he played for the England setup when he was younger. And he's decided to play for USA, and he did a good job. Besides the controversy, which wasn't really his fault. Right? On the every time I see the German team, it makes me smile to think what the you know those party would think of this diverse group. I mean, Mesut Ozil. You know, you've got Turkish man there. You've got Jonathan Tah. You've got Musiala. Like, you've got some guys who, you know what I'm saying, who they wouldn't be, 50 years ago, you probably not welcome in the German team. On the other side, you have French people complaining the team is too African, which we just talked about. Same thing the English did. Team got too many black people. Why aren't there more English? Why didn't Foden go? What about Palmer? You do have English people in there. You have Englishmen. Bukayo Saka is an Englishman, right? He didn't grow up in Nigeria, Ghana. He grew up in England. Some people openly hated Zidane for being Algerian. Algerian, bro. And the crazy thing about that is, if you know anything about African politics, they think about the North Africans a little bit different than they think about the other Africans. Moroccans, Algerians, they see Africa differently. So it's interesting. In this country, John Barnes was hated by some English fan for the color of his skin or being Jamaican, to the point they refused to acknowledge his goal against Brazil. The amazing UK, John Barnes. And we saw it in the Euros. For me, and this is the point, right? For me, nationality is about what you feel. And it's also about where you've come from. Like I said, bro, I'm American. I am American, right? But if I were to get my British passport, become a British citizen, does that make me British? I've been here 10 years. I'm 30 years old. So a third of my life, I've been in this country. If I stay here for 50 more years, most of my life would have been spent in this country. Does that make me British then? Am I British then? Yes, I don't have English heritage. If my children are born here and go to school here and they have children, are we British then? Many in the England team could play for other countries near and far due to ethnicity, but they chose England. And I think that's the important part. Bukayo Saka, Jude Bellingham, some of the players that are, even Declan Rice, they could choose to play for Ireland. They could choose to play for Ghana, Cameroon, Senegal. But they chose to play for England. They chose to play for the country they grew up in. And I'm not knocking anybody who doesn't, because you feel what you feel. And that's a great point, Bondra. You feel what you feel. The longer I stay here, the more I feel British, because I've assimilated into this culture. I've paid my taxes. I volunteered. I work here. Do I have English heritage? Actually, I do. I got a little bit. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But you know what I'm saying? To tell someone that they're not French or they're not English because they're black is weird, bro. Nobody's saying that about Declan Rice. But you look at Bukayo Saka, and he's not English. Like, I saw, oh God, I heard a call, and someone asked, was Ian Wright? Was Ian Wright or Sir Mo Farah? Were they? No, they're British, but they're not English. What? They don't have English heritage, but they're British. They're English. So it's weird to me. It's absolutely weird to me. Let me get to your comments. My apologies. I've ranted, but that's what this is. Fraley, people who are racist open with the line, I'm not racist, but I have black friends. Oh, my cousin's niece, daughter's boyfriend is black. You know, no, I don't, bro. I don't have to. I'm not racist, and I don't have to go and tell people I'm not racist. I treat everybody the same. If you're a scumbag, you're a scumbag. Whether you look like me or not. I just want to be around good people. I don't have to be like, I'm not racist, but like I don't have to do that. I don't have to convince anybody. Like it's like when you try to convince somebody you haven't done something. You know, you not saying you cheat on your girl. I'm not a cheater. I didn't do it. I don't have to, bro. If I didn't cheat on my woman, I don't have to convince anybody I didn't cheat on my woman. I just live my life as normal. Racists tell on themselves all the time. Yeah, it's always a but. Freddy said I deleted it. Yeah, man. Yeah. I have it in the background, but because I was trying to grow the channel, but I don't go on there. I don't go on. I probably haven't posted in ages on there. I can't be bothered, bro. I can't be bothered. Full of disgusting individuals. Very much so. And it's made by one. So big up Gianni. Big up Gianni. I hope everything is well. And thank you guys. Thank you everybody in the chat who's stopping by. I know I'm waffling, but it's just how I feel, man. I think it's weird, and I think it needs to be addressed. This disgusting wouldn't say that to Mbappe's face. No. And that's the thing. This is a thing that X and social media has allowed, right? I haven't met any of you guys, right? But you see people in the chat all the time, right? Who, you know, on anybody's chat, Shane, Curtis Shaw, there's always somebody with some off the wall stuff. And you look at them and like, you would never say that to this face. But the internet allows people to say the nasty things that they think deep in their heart. And they can hide behind the keyboard. But the thing that I love about the internet as well is you can see people who get on you, bro. They will get on you. If you can dish out the racismo, there will be people that bury you. And you got to hold that. You can't be crying crocodile tears. The dapping's going around. She's after said by putting, yeah, bro, you're not, she said in the post, I'm not a football fan. So why did you come on X and say that? Like, why did you come on X and say that? You didn't have to say anything. You could have just kept quiet. First off, I wouldn't have even known who you were. But you decided to come on here and talk nastiness. Fraley said all humans were once black Africans. Yes. When the world was one continent, yes. And being white is, I think, is a genetic mutation. I think that's what it is. I think white skin is a genetic mutation. I think that's correct. So, yeah. And it said penalties in the final versus Italy. It was 3 black players who missed, and I knew it, bro. Listen, when the last penalty was kicked, 5 seconds after, there was a slew, and that's where I started my downward kind of. And I love the England national team, but it felt wrong to me. And yes, I rock Spain, and yes, I know they have their own problems. But the one thing I will say about Spanish media is when it comes to their sports, bro, it don't matter what you could have done. You put on La Furia Roja, you put on the shirt, Espanol. Yeah, you get a little bit of racist, but not, bro, in England, the first time you lose, the competition ain't even over. You lose, and then the next thing you know, all the black players on the front page. Like, oh, no, nobody else was crap. Just Jude Bellingham. Just Bukayo Saka. All the black brothers are on the front page for exactly, Godfrey. Exactly. You see it. Every time something goes wrong, I'm seeing Jude Bellingham. When we win, though, I'm seeing Harry Kane. We lose, I'm saying Bukayo Saka. We win, I'm just saying. Not a single thing, Godfrey. Nobody said anything. See, when Kane misses, it's England. England has been knocked out. When a black person does something, it's Saka missed. They named them individually. Oh, Saka, Rashford, let England down. But Harry Kane misses a pen. Bro, Harry Kane missed a pen in one of the group games. He got a redo. But you could just imagine. You could just imagine. In Australia, I had loads of Sudanese mates get stopped by police and harassed. I was left alone, an immigrant to Australia, and they were born there. Yeah. And this is what I said in the last video. If you guys haven't checked it out, go check that out. Now, I've been in this country for a decade, and the only time I've been stopped by police, is to banter me about what shirt I've had on. Literally the only time I ever get stopped. Once people hear me talk, bro, I get away with everything. But there's people that look like me who got British accents or got, African accents. Looked at sideways. And I'm looked at sideways until I open my mouth. Let's be honest. I'm a big black dude with dreadlocks. And I had a pineapple bun today. And people look at me funny. And then when I start talking, like, oh, you're American. Like, oh, I was going to be racist, but you're cool. Like, that's what it is. That's the kind of world we live in. Brian, this is the thing. This is the same thing. And this is what I was talking about in the other video, right? If you took all the basketball players from the U.S. national team, all the black basketball players from U.S. national team, how many championships do you think USA getting? I tell you that right now. Because Jokic and the man will cook. All right? I'm just saying. So John said, big up Godfrey every time. Big up to you, Gianni. Adam Amino, big up Mr. Puerto Rico. Yeah, man, I got the kit. That's my joint. I love that kit. And I wish I could just keep putting it on, but I can't. Do you think so? I talked about this. I'm not gonna talk about the World Cup, anything else. I'm only gonna talk about this comment, but I'll address this one because you've been nice about it. Yes. Fairly said genetic adaptation. Yeah, it's not a mutation, adaptation. You're correct. You're correct. I knew it was something, but yeah. Those R-word fans don't play for the team, and this is the thing. And it's something that I see, and this is why I wanted to talk about this, because the World Cup should be a place where you represent your nation. It's like the Olympics. You represent your nation. When you have someone, and she's a senator, it's not like she's just a random Paraguayan lady. She's a senator. She's in their government. Luckily, the government have come out, and rightfully, the government have come out and condemned her. A lot of Paraguayans have, but it's shameful, man, because when I think about it, and like I said, I can only speak as an American. When I think as an American, we see the same thing. I remember, what was his name? The shut up and dribble, or calling women's basketball team monkeys and telling them to jump. Like, come on, man. America is not escaped from. And this is what I talked about with the American national team. It's what I talked about. It's the fact that, like, for me growing up, I didn't feel that, bro. I didn't feel close to that team because I didn't see people that looked like me. And the thing now, like, people love Folarin Balogun so much because he's British. He got a British accent, right? So it's America's always been like, they love the basketball team because we win. But I guarantee you they get beat and they all N-word this and N-word that. There's so many. And like I said, I don't want to point anybody with that brush. But it's so easy for people to just be racist, bro. And be openly racist. And that's what society has become. Because you have people like my government in the US, government in the UK, who don't do anything against it, who don't actually stand up and say this is wrong. And I say, I don't think the mainstream media is as bad as that. It used to be. Social media, yes. So, you know, and he does come back. I just Googled the papers out of Italy, find there were mixed of players' pictures, what I'm referring to. Yeah, I get that. There were. But the social media, like you said, is what's, you know, being honest, right? How many people actually read the papers anymore? Like, how many people take the newspaper or go on to, you know, the scum. I always call them scum because they're a scummy newspaper. But like, how many people go on a Daily Mirror to look at things? The older generation, but the majority of what you see is social media. That's where everybody gets their information from, social media. I mean, I've done it. Like the posts that I've just showed are social media posts. Like it didn't come from the news; it came from social media. So it's definitely weird. Big up to my guy Rick. He said, "What are your thoughts on the deal sponsorship with the Arsenal kit?" I think I'm going to boycott the kit, unfortunately. And Fraley said, "Definitely boycott deal." It's another thing, and it's another thing, and this is where we come back to nationality, ethnicity, right? Because I get like the whole Israel thing, and I don't want to get my channel canceled, but it's amazing how genocide is okay if the people are light skinned. It's okay. It's fine. It's okay. You know, if it's against brown people, it's all right. It's fine. But the moment this is the crazy thing, right? And I keep saying this, right? I'll show it one more time. No one's talking about Sudan. Nobody's talking about Palestine. But we all know about Ukraine. We all know about Ukraine. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm not saying that. Because no one should erase a whole group of people. Nobody should say that. No one should have the power to go into somewhere and force people out of their homes and destroy people on the street. Nobody should do that. But why do I see "Pray for Ukraine" on everybody's t-shirts, and I don't see that on anybody's t-shirts for Palestine? I don't see any of that for Sudan. I don't see any of that for Somalia. I didn't see that for Rwanda when that was going on. No, you didn't see any of that. The world was blind. But Ukraine, we need to help them. They're helpless. What's happening to the Haitians? How the Dominicans are treating the Haitians, and vice versa. You don't see that on the news, do you? But pray for Ukraine, everyone, because they're the only ones going through something. And I don't want to diminish what's happening in Ukraine because it's a terrible thing and it's wrong. But have you seen any of the others? Have you seen any of the black and brown people that are getting destroyed on the street? But every time you see somebody, I like to think about, you know, the things that I've seen. Anybody remember Mo Hader on AFTV? One of AFTV's first content creators. Had some good takes. Had some crazy takes. He wore a free Palestine. He off the show. Asked him not to wear it. He off the show. Saeed wore Pray for Palestine. People coming up to him saying you should take that off. But nobody said that about Ukraine. Ukraine has the right to exist, but Palestine doesn't. Why is that? That's all I'm going to say about that. Trey says 0. Big up, Brian. I hope you feel better, bro. I hope you feel better. I really do. Yeah, take care, Brian. To adapt to colder climates, the same with eye color. LeBron James, shut up and dribble. Nope. No, and Andreas makes another good point. Internal conflict in countries like them don't impact the West. Ukraine being invaded makes the West jumpy due to Cold War memories. So what's happened? What about Palestine then? Because that's an actual. It's not an inter conflict, country conflict. Why is it that one group is bigger than the other? And Dominicans and Haitians been at it for donkey's years. Or let's bring it back to my country. No one's talking about how America is putting people in cages and deporting them. That ain't making the news. Nobody cares. No, nobody cares. But every time you see U.S. news, pray for Ukraine. Somebody's attacked Israel. But no one's talking about how Americans treating their citizens. How they're offing their own citizens. No one's saying that. And this is what, listen, Rick say trigger warning was real. But these are the conversations that I want to have on this channel. If it gets canceled, it gets canceled. These are the conversations I like to have. Because I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about football as well. Because we saw Pray for Ukraine. We saw Pray for Ukraine patches. We saw Pray for Ukraine moments of silence. We saw the banners. We saw people with sponsorship. We saw that. Have you seen a thing for Palestine? Have you seen anybody say, pray for those people who've had their homes and entire cities flattened before our eyes? Have you seen any patches for them? Have we taken any moment of silence in the Prem for them? I'm just saying. I'm not disagreeing though. These other conflicts deserve just as much attention. But what I'm thinking is I still have like as an American, and I think about America's always first and foremost to go help someone, but we never actually help the Black and brown countries. And the only time we do is in there's something in it for us. Doesn't help that Britain and France helped create the issue in the first place, and pretty much every conflict in the Middle East, America as well. It's getting no coverage, and I think it's weird. In Spain, you know what, and that's why I respect Spain as well, because Spain has spoken up. They've spoken up. I thought the leadership of Spain were bosses when they basically spoke up against Trump. They said, nah, we ain't doing that. Y'all go over there. Nope, we ain't doing it. You can call us what you like. We ain't doing it. I was like, yeah, That's what I'm talking about. Whole family's wiped out. Yep. I have a very close Palestinian friend, and he's lost. Yeah, and it's sad, bro. Iran. I work with somebody from Iran, and it's a sad thing that's happening, right? And I think about like going back to kind of the football, the whole Somali referee thing, the Iranian thing. Like, if Ukraine had made the World Cup, would you keep them out of there? If Israel had made the World Cup, would you keep them out of there? No, they wouldn't have been banned. But Russia's banned. And I'm not advocating for Russia. But they're banned. They can't compete because of what their president did. But certain places can compete. And this is the whole thing, right? Does ethnicity matter? I think it does. I think ethnicity definitely does matter. Blue eyes are better in low light conditions. Dark brown eyes have better UV. Yep, skin as well. Like I'm tanning. If you know what I'm saying, I'm getting a little bit more brown. I understand that U.S. Basically have a policy of non-intervention on purely humanitarian needs due to getting their butts kicked in Somalia. Yeah, that's the line though, but that's that's mainly because they don't get anything from being humanitarian. and that's exactly what you said. We don't get anything from helping people for free. And it's the thing with America. But we digress into politics. But it all goes in the conversation, right? Why do we think differently for certain people? We think for certain groups and we don't for others. You know what I'm saying? Would this Paraguayan lady have said that to Granit Xhaka? Would she have said that? Bro, you know what's crazy too? I think about the team that I support, Spain. Aymeric Laporte. Guess what, guys? Laporte is not Spanish. It's French. Nobody's saying anything about him. Diego Costa, when he played for Spain, he was Brazilian. Nobody said anything. Nobody cared. Nobody said, oh, he's not Spanish. No, he's not Spanish. Go back to Spain. He's not Spanish. Nobody said that. He was Spanish because he put on the shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, make sure you subscribe to Shane. Thank you so much, Shane, for stopping by. And Gianni as well. Make sure you smash the likes and subscribe. But yeah, did I have something else? I think I had another. Did I have another picture? No, I didn't. But yeah, it's something that I wanted to think about because, and like I go back to my own experience. And people telling me, like I've been told before in my face, that I wasn't American. You're not American because I'm black. And it's like, well, what am I then? You're African. And it's the thing that like African American is, I like to use black. And the reason I like to use black is because I don't have, like, my DNA is African, obviously, right? African is what I call it. It's African, but I don't have a connection to Africa. I don't know anything in Africa. I don't know anyone who lives in Africa. I got one African friend from back home, Nigerian. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have it. So being called African American, it's not really right. Because yes, I have African heritage, but I don't know anything about Africa. I do. But you guys get what I'm saying. Like, I don't know African customs. I don't know, African food. Like, I know these things from being an adult and experiencing them now. But I didn't grow up with that. I didn't grow up with that at all. And I identify as Puerto Rican. Why? Because I grew up with Puerto Rican customs. I know Noche Buena. I know Three Kings Day. You know what I'm saying? I know those customs. I know the grass. Putting the grass in the box for Three Kings Day. Like, I know those things because that's the culture that I grew up with. I'm Puerto Rican and American. But I don't consider myself, like, I consider myself black because that's the culture that I grew up in. Black culture in America is different because we don't have those connections to Africa. So we made it with what we know and what we had and the things that we did remember. Then we had those connections. We've made our own culture. Black culture is different than African culture. And that's another conversation. How some Africans in America treat black people because we don't have that connection. That's a different. It's kind of the same conversation, really, because people think you can't be prejudiced because you're black or brown, but you can. Now, racism is different because racism is a systemic thing. Prejudice, everyone has some sort of prejudices. Everyone. We don't like Tottenham fans. It's prejudice, right? But for me, I have no connection to it. I'm trying to form my own connection and go back and do my history and ancestry and seeing where people have come from. Like, my personal history, my great-grandfather from the Bahamas, immigrated from Nassau to America. My great-grandfather on the side, Puerto Rican, from the same town my grandfather was born in, and my mother. That's my heritage. I can't, I know Gusi and Jollof. Jollof, is that how you say it? Plantain dodo. Like, I know the foods. I know, but I don't know the cultures. I don't know, how they name each other. How they get married. All of that is American for me. So it's kind of disingenuous when people are kind of like, oh, you're not American. So what am I? What am I then? Because I grew up in the same place you grew up in with the same customs. And this is the point that I make for Kylian Mbappe. Oh, he's Cameroon. He has Cameroonian heritage, but he grew up in France. Wembenyama, he has African heritage. He grew up in France. Like, nationality is the culture, bro. It's kind of the culture that you've taken on. And when in 20 years from now, if I'm still in the UK, guess what? I'll say I'm British. Because I would have been here long enough to absorb the culture, to give that back. I'm British American. Like, I don't know if that's a thing, but that's what I would be. That's what I would be. So, it's kind of disgusting when people are like, oh, there's too many black people in England. Bro, what does being black have to do with being British? Nothing. Because I guarantee you them guys, well, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Ian Wright eat bangers and mash. Mo Farah eats British food as well. He's represented this country on the biggest stage. You know what I'm saying? I get called, yeah. I know it's not anything remotely close to what you probably experienced, but it's still some sort of prejudice, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? And there is, because the Welsh, the Irish, the Scottish, they have beef with the English, right? And I get that, but I think when it comes to being black, like, why for me, and something I think about, why is being black such a problem? Like, why is being black such a problem? Why does being black offend people? Like, what is it? What is it that offends people? And it's something that I think about in my own life, right? I'm lucky enough to have lived in this country, like I said, for a decade. And big up my guy Woody, who's in the chat. You know, I've had people adopt me who don't look anything, bro. You one of these days I'm gonna show you a picture with it. I keep forgetting to put it on my computer. Right, tall white guy, British. Right, Woody is British. Me, short black guy, American as hell. And he's shown me more, and he's given me more experience in life than people that look like me in my own country. In my own country. So I don't want to make this thing, and this is why I said I don't want to make it seem like I'm anti-white. I'm anti-brown. I don't want to make it seem that way. I'm only telling you my opinions on the things that I think about. Right? It's ironic that the humanitarian mission in Somalia. It's ironic that the humanitarian mission in Somalia was only after Conoco, Amoco, Chevron, Phillips had oil exploration deals in place before. Yeah, it's money, capitalism. It's who can make the most money. Adam, big up to you. 9 away from 600. We getting there. Historical too. I always say I'm Welsh, not British, because you have pride in that, right? And it's the same. But Fraley, you know that you're British. I know that I'm American, but I always say that I'm Puerto Rican because that's how I grew up. That's the culture I grew up around. You probably grew around you say you're Australian as well, right? Because you've been exposed to those cultures. You've been to Australia. You grew up with Welsh culture. I grew up with Puerto Rican culture. That's it. But I also grew up with Black culture. So I always say when people ask me, what do I identify as? Afro-Latino. Like Afro-Latino. That's what I identify as, because I grew up with Black culture and I grew up with Latino culture. But I'm American. I can't run from that, bro. Like, I can't run from the fact that I'm American. And it saddens me when I see our American president and our American government say that these people aren't American because they come from a different country. But Balogun's okay. Balogun's okay because Balogun is okay because he's playing for us and he's helping us win. The moment that he's no longer useful, I guarantee you he on the chopping block as well. That's the thing. That's the thing. And one ironic moment, right? And we're going back into politics. One ironic moment. So if you don't know American history or American dealings or whatever's going on, right? Our president put forth an executive order to end birthright citizenship in America. And as I've explained, birthright citizenship, if you are born in America, regardless of what citizen, what your parents are from, if you pop out and you touch American soil, you're American. They can't deport you. You're American. You get a social security number, a birth certificate. Congratulations. Right? He tried to end that. How funny is it that the guy who got sent off, who you had to call Gianni Infantino to reinstate, would not have been eligible to play if you got rid of birthright citizenship? The only reason Balogun is playing for America is because his mom popped him out in America. Other than that, there's no other reason. So how can you sit there and say, oh, I don't want birthright citizen to be a thing, but this dude's okay. This dude's fine. The one that I want to play, who still has a British accent. Bro, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Mbappe is half Cameroonian, half Algerian. He said he feels more French because he was born and raised there. Cameroon second and Algeria. And that's the thing, right? It's different for everyone. It's different for everyone. I'm half Bahamian. I'm half Puerto Rican, and I was born in America. I feel Puerto Rican first and foremost because I spent a lot of time with like my mother, my grandmother, my aunt, my uncle. Like I spent time with them. Like I spent time with them, and that's the culture that I learned. So I would say I'm Puerto Rican first. I'm American, and then like I'm Black, obviously. But if you're talking about nationalities, Bahamas would be last. because it's a small piece, but I don't really have connection to it, unfortunately. Right? The only connection I have to the Bahamas is knowing that my grandfather was Bahamian, and the flag that we have as like our family thing. But Puerto Rican, bro, I got a Puerto Rican tattoo. I got a Puerto Rican tattoo on my shoulder, on my arm. Right? I've got my paternal grandfather's name on there. No, my maternal grandfather and my maternal grandmother's name on my body. I have it tattooed on my body. My paternal grandfather had my same name. I have that tattooed on my body as well. But like I have them, like that's how much I feel like I'm Puerto Rican. I root for Puerto Rico first and foremost. I've told you guys this, right? But I'm American as well. You hear me. You see me. My mannerisms, they're American. I can't run from that. Because I was born in America. I don't have any ties to Ghana. I don't have any ties to Nigeria. I don't. So it would feel wrong for me. Would I represent them if I've lived there and I've gotten in the culture after a while? Yeah. Like, and I say it like this. If I live in Britain for 15 more years, I would have spent more time in Britain than I spent in America. Then we start having a different conversation. We start having, because I'd have been here long enough to be part of the fabric. And if I stayed here for 50 years, I will feel British because I stayed here and I made a life. And my children would have been British. I'd be American still, but I'd still be British. Like, that's the thing. Just because of how we were treated. Yeah. The Welsh, the Irish, in America as well. Lion, big up, my guy. Like he said, racism in football is still very relevant. Yes, it is. It is, and it's a sadness. It's sad to see that we are in 2026, and we've made so many advancements with life, with culture, with sharing ideas. But the one thing we can't get rid of is racismo. That's what's weird to me, bro. And Woody make a good point. He says very little British food is British. And that's the thing that gets me as well. That's the thing that annoys me as well. You hate looking at soccer. You hate looking at Bellingham and Rashford. But you love Nigerian food. You love getting a Chinese. You love chicken tikka masala and an Indian curry. You going out for an Indian takeaway, but you don't want them in the country. So who gonna make it? You want, and this is the thing with America, Britain, the West in general. You want to take the culture and get rid of the people. But guess what? If you get rid of the people, you lose the culture because you're not used to that culture. You get rid of all the Puerto Ricans, you're not gonna have a Puerto Rican vibe in Puerto Rico because the culture is what brought you there. You get rid of all the immigrants in the UK and America, it's not going to be the same because the culture is what makes that country good. And this is what football is starting to you're starting to see it as well. You're starting to see it as well. England is a nation of immigrants that don't understand they originated from all German. The royal family's name is Mountbatten Windsor. Aren't they German or Austrian or whatever? Like, bro, Queen Victoria. What was it? Queen Victoria. There was 3 of them. It was like Belgium. Oh God, I got but her grandchildren, which were the kings, was like UK, Germany, and Belgium or something like that, right? What do we probably know? Right? What do you probably know? But the royal family, bro, they come from different Europeans. People don't know their own history, and that's a problem. X allows you to be racist, but doesn't give you actual fact and history. Look what's happening in South Africa. Anyone can be. South Africa is a weird one, man. South Africa is a weird one because you had apartheid for a long time, and now it's kind of switched where they're trying to get they lick back at points. But I also think it's weird because I've seen Black South Africans telling other Africans to leave South Africa. That's weird to me. But Godfrey might be in here. He might know a little bit more than me. But that's what I see. I think it's very interesting that you were basically oppressed, and then you've turned into the oppressor. It's a weird phenomenon. Instead of asking for peace, but I don't know. I can't speak on South Africa because I think it's a very interesting thing. I tell people I won't support the U.S. men's national team until they stop. Yes, precisely. And I talked about why I don't support them because I thought that, like, when I was growing up, the American football team didn't have anyone that looked like me. Like like I said, I could name the three that I can think of off the top of my head. 3 black dudes: Josie Altidore, Freddie Adu, and Tim Howard. So I'm a young black kid in the hood. I see basketball players that look like me. I see Dwayne Wade, LeBron. Baseball, I see McCutcheon and them guys. Even hockey, I see PK Subban. He's Canadian, but I see a dude that look like me. Bro, soccer, I didn't see anybody. I saw the Brazilian team that looked like me. I saw Ronaldinho that looked like me. I saw Roberto Carlos. I saw dudes that look black in the Paraguay team, in the Mexico team. Like, I saw that. And I grew up with Mexicans. So I grew up around dark Mexicans and dark Dominicans. So I felt closer to that than I felt to the American team. Because the American team, it seemed like they were on a pedestal. And I just never relate. I never relate with it. Unfortunately. I have UK kids. US kids. Where is it? Right next to me? It was right next to me. Yeah, here it is. I have a USA national kit. But it's mostly for the aesthetics. Because, come on, look at that. Right? And this shirt here is an extra large. I ain't worn this in ages. I thought it was a large. Just say I ain't wearing it in ages. But I just haven't. It said, "Hi, I'm Woody. I'm definitely British." Definitely British. One of the most British people I know. But, you know what I'm saying? I've had a great friendship with Woody. You know what I'm saying? So just because we look different and we come from different places, don't mean we can't coexist. You know what I'm saying? I look at people as people. Your skin don't mean nothing to me. Big up Robert Prudence. He said, "We all got a bit of something in us. I think I'm part Eskimo." I love to see. You're funny. The Eskimo are tough, man. That's one group of people. They're some tough dudes, man. To live in the cold, use the dogs to mush. Yeah, bro, they're tough. I get a little bit cold. I get a little bit cold and I'm out of there, bro. Freddie said, "Absolutely." In Welsh. Oh, wait. Is that Welsh? Adam Amino says, "Are you proud of Bad Bunny?" I definitely. And I will say that because I'm an honest character, bro. When I first saw Bad Bunny, I was like, bro, this guy is a gimmick, man. Because he was on wrestling. I was like, hey, this guy's gimmicky. I didn't know, like, I knew he's Puerto Rican. I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't until this last album, right, is where I started to take notice. Because this last album, Debí tirar más fotos, which means I should have taken more pictures. It hit me in a place that I hadn't actually, how do I say? It hit me in a place I hadn't actually recognized I could be hit by music in a long time. And the album brought me back to my childhood, which my grandmother's house, right? And I'm going on a tangent, but it's a rant and it's a waffle. So my childhood, my grandmother's house was heaven. It was heaven. My abuelita's house was heaven. I think about it, I close my eyes, I think about it. I can still smell the arroz con gandules. I can still smell the Lysol from cleaning the floor. I can still smell it. Right? I can still see what it feels like. It was heaven for me. And when I listened to Bad Bunny's album, it took me there, bro. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a big man. I cried, bro. I shed tears because, as you guys know, my mother passed away. My uncle passed away. So my grandmother, my abuelita, has lost 2 of her children. And that album made me cry, bro, because I remember what it was like being at her house with my uncle, being at her house with my mom, enjoying Christmas. Like the music, it awakened something in me that was dormant that I pushed to the side because I was dealing with grief. So am I proud of that guy? Yes, because he reminded me who I am. His music reminded me where I've come from, who I am, and how I've gotten here. You know what I'm saying? What I'm representing. I represent my family. I have all 3 of my family names tattooed on my body because I'm a representative of them. Even on this internet thing, man, I'm a representative of my family. I'm a representative of my culture. I'm a representative of my heritage. I am. And I got 600 subscribers. So what? To those 600, I'm a Puerto Rican guy. I'm an American to those 600 who watch me. So you never know, man. Some of them might base their idea of Americans on watching me. And I think about that when I come on the internet. I think about that when I have experience and I talk to people around. So yes, I'm extremely proud of him. And I'm proud that he's brought spotlight to the hardships and the disgusting things that America as a mainland have done to Puerto Ricans. And like my guy Rick said, with how Americans treat Black people, Puerto Ricans are right there along. There's a sign when segregation was happening that said, what was it? It said, I think it was no Italians, no Puerto Ricans, and no Black people. I think that's what it was. So, yeah, man, for me, I love that guy, bro. And I'll support him if I can. I'm supposed to go to his concert, but I'll support him, man, until he does something that's wrong. But he's bringing awareness to the fight that my mother's country, my uncle's country, my grandmother's country struggle with. They still struggle with it, and my family still live in Puerto Rico, and not in San Juan, in actual mainland Puerto Rico, bro. They live there, so I'll support it, man. Big up to him. Woody said, unfortunately, people will always mistrust people who don't look like them. It's an inbuilt survival thing. It's the reason why I immediately take offense to people in spur shirts. That's because they make terrible decisions. That's because they take. But this is the thing, right? You always. There's a difference between not trusting, because I just don't trust people in general because of just my life experience. But there's the thing that I pride myself on is I try not to judge someone until I've had an interaction with them. Spurs fans are different, right? You've chosen wrong in life, but on a real thing, like I try not to judge you, right? Until you show me that you're a dirtbag. Elon, DT, you've showed me you're a dirtbag. I don't have to know you to see that you've shown me. You've basically said how you feel, and I don't agree with it. But I don't just look at a white person or a Black person or a brown person and say, that got shady. Like, no, I just don't. Right? Because they're white. Oh, that white guy shit. I don't do that. Now, if you walking around with a hoodie in your hand in your pocket, whether you white, brown, green, red, orange, I'm gonna be like, you look shady, bro. But nah, man. The reverse is when people say, I don't see anyone who looks like me. I'm not represented and I need to be before they can get involved. There's comfort and familiarity. Yeah. Like me, you know me personally. So, like, bro, I could have come to this country and just stayed in my shell. But I said, bro, I'm in a different country. Let's see what the people are like. And look who I'm in. I'm going to brag again, but I've been to 14 games. Hey, you know what I'm saying? But big up to Woody, man, all the time. But I've been to 14 games. I've been to different museums. I've been to events by just being me and allowing people to be who they are and show me who they are, right? A lot of my friends in this country, pasty, white. And I love them. Same thing in America. I got people I love in America, white. So I judge you based on what did Martin Luther King say? Don't judge people based on the content, the color of their skin, but on the content of their character. I take that to heart. I try to judge people based on the content of their character. If you're a dirtbag, I'll never like you. Whether you're black, brown, green, orange, I don't. The diddler, I'm not gonna like that dude because you're a dirtbag. And his music sucks. Just saying. Rick said, I hear you, Rican. My dad Jamaican, my mom Trinidadian, but I grew up in Jamaica, so I identify more with Jamaican than Trinidad. Yeah, you're not saying, like, you're not saying that you hate Jamaica. You're not saying that you hate Trinidad. But you've grown up with a certain culture. I'm Bahamian. That will not change. But I don't know anything about the culture because I didn't grow up that way. But I am Bahamian. I have Bahamian heritage. That's what I say. I always say I have Bahamian heritage. But I'm Puerto Rican because I grew up around Puerto Ricans. I grew up with the customs, cultures, and I grew up being taught how to be a good man by Puerto Ricans. So that's what I say. Fred say you're British, my G. Listen, I drink tea now, man. Like I go home back to Florida, and my mother-in-law laughs at me, bro, because I buy like a little box of Tetleys from the local store because they sell it in like the international aisle, and I buy it, and I'll be there sitting. I'll sit on her sofa with a cup of tea, and she's like, "Oh, so she's like, yo, you just drinking tea? Like, look at you." I'm like, yeah. Even my aunt too. She said, "Oh, he's gonna have his little pinky out," but I've picked up the culture. Like I've picked up the culture. I've picked up the mannerisms of being in Britain. You know what I'm saying? So, am I English? No. Am I Welsh? No. But when I become a citizen, and when I if I decide to make my life here, because I don't know what the future holds, but if I decide to make my life here, then I will be British. I'll be a naturalized British man. That's what I will be. And I'll be proud to be British, but I'll still be Puerto Rican. I'll be Puerto Rican British. And like what he said in his post, these guys chose to represent this country. I chose to represent Puerto Rico because there's not enough of us out there representing. We're the minority, and I get that, and I love the fight. And that's why if this channel ever blows up, I will use my spotlight. And going back to Adam Elmino's question, if my channel ever blows up, I will use my spotlight just like Bad Bunny. Because that's what you should do. And I'm glad that people like Kylian Mbappe using the spotlight. What did he say? I will never allow people like her the freedom to spread their hatred and racism. He's one of the biggest athletes in the world. I'll never allow it. And I'll always call it out. And that's your duty as a black player, white player, brown player, whatever, from anywhere. Your responsibility. It's not just to play the game. If you get big enough, your responsibility is to represent what's right. You have a responsibility. And I remember, they back in the day, they were talking about Charles Barkley. And I'm not a role model, but you are. How many people look up to LeBron? How many people looked up to Michael Jordan? How many people look up to Messi, to Ronaldo? People look up to those guys. Whether you're a role model, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. And it's your job as an athlete with millions of followers to turn the tide. To say this ain't right. And I'm glad that athletes are speaking up for Palestine, are speaking up for Ukraine, are speaking up for Sudan. Like, that's your responsibility as a public figure, is to do those things. Big up Sean, he said, that's the same for me. I feel Japanese first, Norwegian, and then American because of my upbringing. And that's the nationality. It's a culture thing. But your heritage will always be Puerto Rican, Norwegian, and American. It will. That's your heritage. You can't, when you look at your DNA, that's what it will say. But the culture is where you feel. And I talk to my wife all the time, right? I talk to my wife all the time. If I ever got called up to a national team for anything, she asked me, would you represent Puerto Rico? Would you represent the U.S.? If Puerto Rico is available, Puerto Rico first and foremost. I could not win anything, but representing the country that of my mother, of my grandmother, of my aunt and uncle, that means more to me than anything. And I'm pretty sure the Puerto Rican national team feel the same way, because a lot of them, you know, we've got a striker, Antonetti, born in Spain. He's Puerto Rican, but he's born in Spain. He could have tried to play for Spain. He chose De Leon. Could have tried to play for America, Puerto Rico. You know what I'm saying? So it means something to them. Right? That's just how I feel. Now, if Puerto Rico aren't in it, or they're not an available option, I'm American, because that's what I am. Until I become British, and then I'll be British. Might be a toss-up, but who knows? Right? The UK has come a long way since the no blacks, no dogs, no Irish in the 1960s. Yeah, it has. But in the same vein, it's still got a long way to go. It has a long way to go. Because this whole anti-immigrant thing is disgusting, man. It is. And I know people like you, and you know, people like Fraley, it takes you guys to speak up, and you are, right? You're good people because you're here. Because when I said the whole thing about white people, y'all could have dipped out. Right? You're here. Right? So it proves that you're not part of that minority. Right? But that minority is so loud because of social media now. So it's on us to fight it, but it's also on you guys to help. And I'm glad that you are. I'm glad that you're supporting. Right? Because the only way it gets better is if you keep calling it out and you keep going forward with more progressive ideas. Right? There will always be a minority in every group. Right? I mean, we looked at, you know what's crazy to me, right? The leader of the Reform Party, I'm not going to say his name. People are more upset at him accepting £5 million gift than the stuff that he said about black and brown people. Same thing with the president. People are more upset with him taking bribes and him, you know, doing random billionaire stuff than they are the things when he said my country is a crap hole. That's the crazy thing to me. Anglo-Saxons, the Germanic, French immigrants, listen, they don't want to hear history, Fraley. We know that. And when you tell them that, they go quiet. And like what he said, there's still a way to go until we have no discrimination. We'll never not have that. And that's the thing. We'll never not have that. There will always be some discrimination. You know, if we didn't have it, you discriminate against people who have long hair or short hair or tall or short. There will always be some form. But skin color is a weird one, man. I can't change the fact that I'm black. And I look in the camera. I would never want to be anything other than. Right? Because look at me, bro. I'm handsome. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would never want to be anything other than me. I like the mixture. I like the skin. I wish I was a little bit taller, though. Like, maybe like 6'3". No, I feel like that's too tall. But I digress. But yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? There's still a lot to go before we get to a point where we'll have peace. But as long as money's involved and colonism and colonialism, then yeah. Yeah, yes, it has. It very much, and it's weird to me, man. Like you've gone through something where you were the minority, and now you've become the majority, and that's how you decide to act. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. The iron, yep. I spoke about this earlier, right? Half the team want to be. You got Mexicans in there. You know what I'm saying? You got a British man leading the line. But bro, Balogun speaks in an English accent. Like, it's crazy. Queen Victoria named Albert from House of Saxe-Coburg, Suffolk. Mary Albert, sorry. Queen Victoria married Albert from the House of Saxe-Coburg, Suffolk, which is in what is now Germany. They changed their surname when the country went to war with Germany in 1917. Yeah, then they changed it to Mountbatten Windsor or whatever it was, right? So that it wouldn't sound like they were German. But people forget that because nobody actually looks at their history. When racismo has no logic. Big up, Mr. Holiday. What do you think of the Argentina football discourse? I'll be honest, Mr. Holiday. I've got no Argentina kid. You guys know that I'm a kid whore. You guys know this, right? Like I've got kid next to me. I've just got shirts galore, bro. Like I have so many. Guess what kid I do not have? And I could buy it 1,000 times over. I don't have a single Argentina kit. And I love Messi. The only Messi kit that I have is from Barcelona. I don't have a single Argentina kit. And I won't buy one. Will not. And I said this, I said this on my channel. I said I would buy whichever kit won. I would buy whatever kit won the World Cup. That's who kit I would get, except Argentina. You will not see me buy one. And I think they're nice kits. But like Rick, how can I support someone that don't support me? Now, every team had Spain. I lived in Spain. Racismo. They got it. But when Argentina is openly racist, unapologetically, I can't put that on my body, bro. I can't have that in my space. And Messi might not be, but his country is. And unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? And if you know the history, because I do, I'm a history buff. I like history, right? Argentina, before World War II kicked off, they had invited a lot of Europeans to whitewash their country. Because guess what was in Argentina, guys? The same thing that's in Brazil. The natives, the black people, because the Spanish had brought them there. And guess what? They got rid of them systemically. Then after World War II happens and the Germans lose, guess who invited the former war criminals there with open arms and allowed them places in parliament? Argentina. There's a black player in Argentina's youth setup right now. And I looked at him because it was like it's a new hot thing in Argentina. I looked at the comments, absolutely disgusting. Absolutely, like unapologetic racism. I take it back. I will buy an Argentina kit when a black player dons it. When a black player dons the Argentina kit, I'm buying his kit, his name and his number. When that happens. And not just one time. I want him to be a starter. He gets more than 1 or 2 appearances, I'm buying it. Until then, you won't see me. I don't care if Messi has a hat trick. I ain't buying that kit. I'll buy the other team that's in the final. Or just not buy a kit at all. That's how I feel about Argentina and when it comes to Argentina football. Now, if you were talking about VARs and cheating, as I said before, I'm only sticking on topic, and we talking racismo, ethnicity, and nationalism. Not national, yeah, nationalism. I don't know. So, yeah, that's That's how I feel about Argentina. Big up Team Miss Holiday. I'm gonna pronounce this right. Imohid. Did I say it right? Imohid. So yeah. There was a time where Italians and Irish were not considered white. Yeah. And then in America as well. And some of them gamed the system. They realized that they could. So yeah. I understand that Puerto Rico struggle in my own way because I'm Japanese, but our family has roots in the Ryukyu Kingdom, Okinawa. And to this day, our culture and heritage aren't recognized. Yeah, it sucks, man. And, you know, Sean, when it sucks even more when Puerto Rican history is such a big part of American history. It's such a part of American and world history. Because when Vietnam happened, guess who they called on? Puerto Rico. My uncle, my grandmother's brother, went to Vietnam. He was there. He don't talk about it. He doesn't say much. He will not talk about it if you ask him. And I know what that means. But yet, him as a veteran, he can't get the same care in Puerto Rico that Americans get at the VA in America. And he fought in one of the hardest conflicts in our history. You know what I'm saying? So there are people in Puerto Rico that don't have running water, don't have, you know, electricity, because our nation turns their back on them. So yeah, man, it hurts. It hurts. It absolutely hurts. And that's why I represent them as much as I can. And the reason I love Sevilla so much as a football club is because they put Puerto Rico on the shirt. So See Puerto Rico was Sevilla's sponsor for I think it was 15-16 or 16-17. And what ended up happening was there was a hurricane, and Puerto Rico couldn't afford to sponsor them. So what Sevilla did, instead of taking it all the way off the shirt for that season, they put it on the back of the shirt. They kept it on there, and then the next season they got a new sponsor. But they could have just, you know, did nothing. But they left it. So, yeah, I got a little bit of respect for Sevilla for that, man. Big up to Pito, big up, man. Bless up the chat as well. People who are through and through American will never understand what it's like to be raised in a different culture. I've been being in Miami, and Rick, you from South Florida as well, man. You know, like South Florida there's no other place like it, man. There's so much culture, so many, like being a hee-haw American, bro. Like I couldn't do that because you're missing out on so much love and food. Excuse me, and just greatness, bro. You miss out on greatness. So yeah, but like you said, man, I identify with Puerto Rico because that's where I was raised. I am Bahamian by blood, but by culture, Boricua, bro, through and through. I think you meant CeeLo, but I get you. Big up to Woody, man. It represents a small minority of Argentinians. I've seen a few discuss with how their fans been acting. But the thing is, Freda, like there are ones that kick back, but Argentina as a country, as a whole, is, you know, not great when it comes to racism. And America, I full heart agree. America put Irish people in chains. They put black people in chains. They put Asians in chains. Like white Americans, they got a lot to answer for. But yeah, man, it's that's not lost on me. You know what I'm saying? But I am American. That's where I'm from. That's where I was born. That's where I was raised. You know, I got a passport. If they had a Puerto Rican passport, and I showed this, I don't know if you guys seen, but I'll show it to you again, right? I'll show it to you again. Let me remove some of this stuff. When I say I'm Puerto Rican, I'm legit Puerto Rican. Like I have a certificate to prove it. This is my certificate of Puerto Rican citizenship. Now, people might say, "Oh, but if you're Puerto Rican, how can you be a citizen of Puerto Rico and a citizen of America?" Well, you're automatically an American citizen. This allows me. This document here says that I'm Puerto Rican not only by blood but by nationality. So I'm Puerto Rican, and it's not recognized anywhere in the world except for one country, and that's Spain. So if I take this and I go to Spain, I could get a Spanish passport if I lived there for 2 years. Because it's an official document. It's recognized by Puerto Rico as well. Right? But I'm Puerto. So when I say that I am Puerto Rican, I mean it, man. Like this is the documentation that says me, your boy Puerto Rican, is Boricua. That's a government seal. Signed, sealed, delivered. Signed and everything. So yes, I am Puerto Rican. Pal carajo, Argentina. Yeah, man. Basureña. Hey, Fred, he said very close. It's like Yama or Heed. Hey, I was close. Yama. Listen, one day, Fraley, I'm gonna pop on one of these streams and I'm gonna speak Welsh, and it's gonna blow you guys. I know Borda. That's all I know. Borda. I'm getting there though. I'm only buying club and my own Heritage Nations kits until the West stops its neo-colonialist agenda. I will never support them in that manner. That's why I wanted DR Congo to be England. Yeah, listen, like I said, I live in England now, so and I love the country. I won't lie to you guys. I love the country. I love the people that I've met, and I love the people I've been around. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I buy kits because I'm a kit whore. You guys know this. I love kits. So that's why I buy them. But there are certain countries, like even Italy. I don't have any Italian kits. Big up to Gianni. And I know he's he love it. I know he's not that type of person. But the way they did Balotelli, nah, man. I just can't. And Italy got some flyer kits. I do have Italian kits from clubs. But the national team, I can't, bro. I can't. I can't. So, yeah. Sean said, going back to what you said, Rican, I support Messi when he uses his platform to denounce the racist. Exactly. You one of the biggest athletes in the world. What they gonna do? Say you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's easy to not feel, oh, we're not racist. This is how we've always been. Oh, we're not prejudiced. This is how it's always been. If you have to say that's how it's always been, it's probably not right, guys. Probably not. Freddie said that's sick. Oh, okay, yeah, man. My Puerto Rican citizenship, bro. My mate has one very similar to that for Palestine. That's your heritage, man. It's your heritage. And Puerto Rico is weird because it's a Commonwealth, so it's technically a country, but it's a country that belongs to the U.S. But yeah, man, it's my heritage, it's my people. So when I say I'm Puerto Rican, I mean it, man. Miss Pat said, Rican, you remember that song by Tony Sunshine Big Pun called 100%? That's the Rican theme song. I'm gonna give it a listen. Tito Trinidad, a legend for Rican. Listen, there have been a lot of Puerto Ricans. There's been a lot of Puerto Rican people, famous people, you know, that have done a lot. And like I said, I have to big up New York because New York they have historically brought a lot of the Puerto Rican issues to the forefront. They're where we got the flag from. So yeah, you know, you can't tell the story of Puerto Rico without New York. But yeah. And Freddie said, no sueda. No sueda? I think it's no sueda. I think that's good afternoon, no? But yeah, man, that's my rant. That's my rant. Like I'm glad. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me. So long. I will be wrapping up in about 10-15 minutes. But I just want to say, everybody who's watching, I appreciate you guys. These aren't easy things to talk about. And I picked these two topics for the first two Rican rants because they were things that I saw in the World Cup. And I think it was a big thing to acknowledge because actually Rich touches on it, right? I wish I could be proud of America. I really do. But America just doesn't inspire me the way the green, gold, and black does. And this is what I say, right? This is what I say about the World Cup, right? To bring it back around. I said that with any other government in charge of America, this could have been the greatest World Cup we've ever seen. America itself, regardless of what people think, is one of the biggest melting pots, if not the biggest melting pot in the world. American culture, right? America as a whole, bro, Florida itself, Brazilians in Orlando, Puerto Ricans in New York and Miami. You know, there's a huge Jewish community in South Florida, right? Boca Raton. There's huge Muslim communities, right? They're Puerto Ricans, Dominicans. We got little Haiti, little Havana. There's so many cultures. We've got Nigerians up north. You got Mexicans. You've got British people living in New York. Seattle, you have Pacific Islanders, Australians. America is the place. It's the nucleus of just culture. Not American culture, not that hee-haw culture. I'm talking about as a whole. This World Cup should have been a place with no controversy where we showcase the beauty of America. And we have. I don't want to knock it. We have showcased the beauty because a lot of the World Cup is in liberal cities. And that's why you haven't heard as much controversy. You ain't seen no World Cup. World Cup hasn't been in Alabama. You know what I'm saying? They haven't had, I don't think they've been in places like Chicago. I think Chicago would have been a shout, though, to be fair. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain red states and red areas that the World Cup didn't touch. The only conservative government, city government that the World Cup has touched is Miami. And that's because Cubans, unfortunately, still haven't realized that America doesn't care about them. But that's a color thing as well, because they've convinced themselves that because they're light-skinned, because they're white, that America said they have not. And Donald Trump told you as much. But that's another thing. The reason why this World Cup loses points is because you have the controversy. You've got all the stuff going on in the background. You've got Iran being told they can't stay the night. That's never happened before. You've got the World Cup ref getting to America and told he got to go home. That's never happened before. You've got a guy getting a red card in the World Cup. The president calling the president of FIFA, getting it overturned. That's never happened before. And that takes away from the spectacle, the beauty, the amazing experience that this World Cup has been. So has it been a great World Cup? Yes. But now with the Paraguayan lady and the Argentina discourse, it drags down the points. And like Rick says, and I'm with you, bro. If I wasn't Puerto Rican, Jamaica probably second, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I like the blackness. I like the love of their island. The love. It's like Puerto Rico, and that's why I love Puerto Rico. There's something about that star, the bandera, the sea, being Boricua. There's something that it just touches me more than yeah, I'm American, because that's where I'm from. But being Puerto Rican is something I'm very proud of. Very, very proud of. Thank you. I appreciate it. He said it was a great stream. Great show. Thank you, Fraley. Very important topic. Sometimes we have to have these conversations. Sometimes we do, man, because I don't want this channel to just be roses and unicorns, man. And that might not get me 1 million subscribers, but I can only tell my truth. I can only be me, man. And I think that if you want to be part of my community, if you want to be here, then I want you to be honest, man. I want you to be honest with what's going on. I want you to be honest with how you feel about things. I will start this, Fraley. Let me start that other one as well. I'll start this, Fraley, so I'll listen to it. I'll listen to it later. Because I like listening to good music. If I ever choose to move back to the States, I don't want to move to Puerto Rico or back to DC, even though I'm a native of LA, the US. Listen, and like I said, Sean, where are you at right now? I forgot to ask. Where are you? But if I move back to the States, it would definitely be Puerto Rico or back home to Miami. But you live in Tokyo. You watching this? I got a Tokyo fan. Hey, I'm international. This is brought to you by Rican Futbol TV. Super international. But listen. Also, Japan is a beautiful country, and they have amazing things there, like the onsen, man. I just want to do an onsen, be in nature, and just sit there. Oh, hot stuff. Anyway, the America is beautiful, man. America is a beautiful country, right? America is such a big and diverse country. You've got the rolling hills in the Midwest. You've got Tex-Mex down in San Antonio. You've got the three shades of California, the Pacific Northwest, New York City in the north, New York, Philadelphia, DC, DMV. You've got the South, New Orleans, Atlanta, Miami. There's so many beautiful things in America, right? You've got so many beautiful things in America. But you've also got ugliness. And because America's so big, because there's so much access to the internet, you see more ugly than you see beauty. But don't get me wrong, I love my country. Both America and Puerto Rico. I love them. But I can't act like I don't see the hurt, the pain that they've caused me and people that look like me. So yeah. I have cousins in Kansas. I went about 10 years ago for one of the graduations, and even as an Asian, I got the "you ain't from around here, are you?" question looks. That's yeah, bro. Yeehaw, America. You ain't from around these parts. Like, yeah, bro. You know what I'm saying? I've been told that, bro. I'm from the South. I'm black. Yeah, I sound like I sound, right? Although when I go back home, I'm a little bit more country. When I'm back home, when I'm back amongst my people, I'm a little bit more country. But nah, sitting here, you know what I'm saying? I like I sound how I sound. And people just be like, "You from around here?" It's like, "Are you, motherfucker?" Oops, I didn't mean to cuss, my bad. But like, but yeah, people ask you that, and I just like, you know what I'm saying? You the thing with living in America, in South Florida, right? People can call the police because you don't look like you should be in a neighborhood. I've never had that here. I look like I shouldn't be nowhere in England. Look at me, bro. But nobody cares. At least the people that I'm around. Nobody cares. In America, bro, I can be followed in a store that I've gone my entire life. I could be profiled in a neighborhood that I've lived in since I've been an adult. That's the thing, bro. And that's why I moved out of here. I moved out of there. So, yeah. Fair to say, we're told no politics in football. They straight up lie. FIFA is a political entity of its own, as we saw. So they did lie. Big up, Fraley. Yeah, they did lie, and they think we can't see it. But it's the beauty of the internet. We got receipts, broski. We can see it in 5K. We can see it in 5K. You can't lie to us. So, yeah, man. This is crazy. You know how nice, like how happy that's made me, Sean. Right? Because I thought I the way you were talking about America, I thought you still lived there. But Tokyo, what time is it in Tokyo? Rican Futbol TV is international. I have made the Asian market. Coming to Asia soon. Rican Futbol TV. I'm so excited about that, man. I don't know why I'm excited about that. So I got Africa with Godfrey. I've got America, even though I don't live there anymore. I've got Asia. I need to get the Middle East. Obviously, I got Europe. Ooh, South America is another one. I got to figure out how to get somebody from Brazil. Listen, but no, seriously though, I know that the time is probably crazy there. So for you to come in and watch me, I appreciate that, man. Like, you guys know how I feel, right? If you sit here and watch me, that's time being spent, and I always appreciate your time and your takes, man. I love it. I love having these conversations. Unfortunately, Japan is yeah. I've seen that. I've seen it. And you know what, Sean? Being honest, it's not just Japan. I feel like people like the Russian president and the American president and the president of that country that's committing genocide have allowed right wing and xenophobia to thrive because that's the forefront. That's what people see, and there's a lot of right wing, and it's just giving division, bro. Without immigration, without exchange of ideas, none of our countries would be anything. The reason why the West is so great is because they took things from other parts of the world. They took ideas from other parts of the world. That's why the world is the way it is. Without that, if we just shut the borders down, bro, you just go to war with the world, and you lose a bit of that love and compassion, bro. So yeah, Sean, when I went there were Japan only bars. Yeah, Sadness. But I still want to go, though. I still want to go to Japan. That's my 35th birthday. I want to go to Japan. I make it known. Because I love anime, man. I love anime, and I like Japanese culture and Japanese history. But I would hope that they accept me as I accept them. Sean said there was one reporter too on CNN who went to his family's hometown with his crew, and even the white crew was called Yankee. Some yeehaw Americans are yeah, man. Yeah, the southern and like the middle of America, like the country. That's because they date because let me say that. But yeah, it's weird, bro. It's weird. And the crazy thing is, bro, white people are not native to America, everyone. You should know this. Native Americans, the Choctaw, the Arawak, the Seminole, the Apache, those tribes, and there's a million other tribes. Those are the natives. And guess where they are now? Reservations being slowly dwindled because they don't have resources, and the government refuses to acknowledge that they destroyed an entire group of people to build America the Great. I'm also part Native American as well. So I've said this before, but Taino, the Arawak people of the Caribbean, were called Taino, and I am 8% Taino, which is crazy. I think I'm 9%, but I'm 9% Taino, which is crazy because I'm only half Puerto Rican, which means that I probably got some from my dad as well. We like the Bahamas. I think they went that far north. But yes, I am Taino. So I'm Native American as well as Spanish, Portuguese. Bro, I'm like 2% less Portuguese than I am Spanish as well, which is crazy. One day I'll show you guys my ancestry. It's crazy. I got so much stuff in there, bro. It's crazy. So much stuff in there. I got a little bit of Scottish in there too. Big up to you guys. Rican on tour. Yeah, man. One day when we get big enough, we're gonna do a tour, man. I'm gonna go visit Sean in Japan and Godfrey in South Africa when they stop their craziness. And yeah, man. I know, but it's yeah, you know what I mean though. You know what I'm saying? It is Asian, but I'm trying to get me like somebody in Saudi Arabia. I think that'd be cool. Like the real Middle East. Sadly, we're having this issue, even for me as a dual citizen. They don't believe I should have the same rights as strictly Japanese nationals. Yeah, man. And that's part of colonialism as well, though. That's part of colonialism as well. Because once you get colonized, what they do is they leave you with limited resources, and then you start fighting amongst yourselves. Look at African countries. All of the resources are gone, and now you're having two groups fight against, for what's left. And that's why you have those civil wars and genocides like Rwanda. Because you have the West come in there, they figure out they've had a mineral or diamonds, oil, coffee, whatever, tobacco, whatever it is. They figure they can grow that. They take it, and as soon as they've depleted everything, they say, "Oh, here's 3% left," and now you got two groups fighting over the last 3%, and who can be in the favor to get more. So yeah, and you have Oceania. Yep, gotta get Australia in there. Australia. Sean, that's crazy. Very much so. I saw the orange man rip down some history plaques about Native Americans. Listen, rip down Native Americans, black people. He rechanged the name of the bases. He got rid of most of the black people on the military pages and women. Bro, this guy, bro, this administration haven't covered up the fact that they 1930s Germany, bro. They haven't covered that up, which is why I can't support it. And the lady who's in charge of Puerto Rico is a grifter as well. She's a grifter as well. She's one of them. She loves the MAGA thing. She's one of them. So yeah. Big up Adam. He said there's politics in Jamaica too. So Adam, it's amazing you said that. That was the saddest thing I saw. Right. So I went to Jamaica a couple years back because, as I said, my mother-in-law is Jamaican, and she said you should go. And I went to the touristy bits. I went to Negril, and I went there and we did a tour of like the area, bro. One of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And then because I like talking to people about their culture, and we spoke to the guy and he said, "Oh, we can't go to the beach. The beaches are just for the hotels. There's Jamaicans aren't allowed there. They have to pay to go there." I said, "How can a foreign company like Barcelo or the Hilton, how can they come there to your country and tell you you can't use the beach that's in your country?" Because they buy it. They buy it, the government. But that's part of the colonies leaving you scant resources and then saying, "Oh, we'll give you money to get some of your resources." They're just taking from you. They, they left you with nothing, and then they say, "Oh, we'll pay you pennies to use your resources." That's what they've done. That's what America does, and that's what they do to Puerto Rico. They told rich Americans you can move to Puerto Rico and not pay taxes. So what do you think going to happen to the Native Americans? But the median income of Puerto Rico is like $30,000 or something like that, which is crazy low. So, yeah, bro, if you allow people, you know what I'm saying, if you starve the Jamaican government and then you say, "Listen, we'll give you $5 to use your beaches," they're going to take it because they have no dollars. The government will take that. And that's what they've done because they're getting money. But the problem is that money's not being respread to the people. It's within the government and the government officials. I don't think government officials should get paid that much, but that's another conversation. Yep, I heard that as well, and it's straight sadness. And Freddie said, "Yeah, the files." But yeah. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys so much, man. I really do. I appreciate you guys. I love coming here and having a chat because we talk about some real stuff. And we talk about things that you might not find on other channels. But I like to talk about things that are near and dear to my heart. And the cultural identity, ethnicity. That's how I feel, man. That's how I feel. I am proud. I'm proud to be Puerto Rican. I'm proud in points to be American. And when I become a British citizen, I'll be proud to be British. But my nationality is a feeling. It's how I feel. It's how I feel in the documents I feel like it's how I feel in the documents I had to provide, to back that up. So I'm Puerto Rican because that's my culture. That's what my parents were. And I have the document to prove that I'm Puerto Rican. I'm also American because I got Black culture. I grew up around Black people and I got an American passport. And guess what? In 3 or 4 years, I'll be British because I have a British passport. I'll live around British people. My kids will be British. That will be me. That's just how it is. But ethnically, Puerto Rican with African heritage. That's me. I'm proud of that. And I just hope that one day we don't have to have these conversations. I hope that one day I can look at the World Cup, the Euros, the Olympics, basketball, football, American football. I can look at those things and someone have a loss or someone make a mistake. And the first thing that comes up isn't the fact that they're black, brown, Asian, immigrant, the first thing that comes up is that they suck. When Bukayo Saka has a bad day, yeah, the stinker. I don't think about, oh, that Nigerian dude. No, I don't. When Declan Rice or Aaron Ramsdale, when Aaron Ramsdale had those stinkers, I didn't think, oh, that white guy. White people always lose us games. I didn't think that. That didn't cross my mind. I think, man, this guy has flappy hands. That didn't cross my mind. And until we get to that point as a society, until we get to a point where the first thing you think about or you come out with isn't someone's race, where they come from, or the fact that they look different or are different than you, it's a long journey. We got a long journey ahead of us. But I believe conversations like this and spreading how we feel, spreading the acceptance, spreading the love, spreading the equality, that's how you get it. And it's our generation. It's young people, right? I'm going to leave on this. The reason why we still see this, bro, a lot of these people that are making policy, they're old. They're 60 plus. My dad was 75 and was in Jim Crow South until he was 18. Think about that. But young people like me, 40-year-olds, 30-year-olds who came up in multicultural areas, who came up loving other people, who came up seeing people as people and not the color of their skin, that's what will change society. We just have to wait for the old guard to die off. That's it. We have to keep spreading love and wait for the old guard to die off and things will change. But we can't just sit there and do nothing. So I'm going to leave you guys. Listen, I will be back tonight because we do have a watch along. So I'm going to go grab me some lunch, not some lunch, some dinner, and I'll be back for the watch along. I'll also let my computer cool because I've been out here for 2 hours. And you guys know it likes to act up after I've done a double stream. So I'll turn it off. I'll put it somewhere cool, and I'll be back, right? So I'm going to end. If I don't see you guys, the same people that aren't in here, remember I'm in the show how I always do. I hope that the rest of your week is good. I hope that the things that you want to happen. I hope that all the negativity leaves you. I hope that all the bad stuff gets out of your way. But most of all, I hope that you enjoyed this chat. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I hope to see you back on Rican Futbol TV soon. Big up. Blessings. Peace and love. I'm out.